It has been said that to understand the Japanese, you must be Japanese. For hundreds of years, Japan existed as a culture unto itself, isolated from the rest of the world. Throughout Japanese history, there was little foreign influence, with the exception of that which the ruling class introduced or allowed to come in under their control. Japan developed as an independent society apart from the rest of the world. Because of this, there are cultural and societal aspects of Japan which are unique and often difficult for Westerners to understand. Consider some cliches about the Japanese. The Japanese are artificial and robotic with their emotions inhibited. Their ways are overly structured, even dogmatic. The rigidity of their society makes them seem unapproachable. The Japanese people's systematic adherence to societal roles could be perceived as shallow and unfeeling. And yet, as one looks deeper into the culture of the Japanese people, one is forced to rethink one's prejudices. Emotion is not a concept ordinarily associated with the Japanese. Acting upon one's deepest and most heartfelt feelings, this is seen time and time again in the people's constant appeals to oneness, to harmony, to heart. Shibui, a restrained elegance, a refined sensitivity, in the arts or in human behavior, is an ultimate virtue. Shibui implies a keen sensitivity towards nature, a harmony of spirit and mind, peacefulness, an awareness of the delicate changes in feeling, scenery, circumstance, with the sentiment balanced by the intellect. Sentimentality is another emotional quality of the Japanese. It is evidenced by karaoke bars, their love of food and hospitality, loyalty to old school friends, nostalgia for the old days, by the reverence and worship of heroes. The traditional arts of Japan all display an emotional sophistication designed around simplicity and emotional refinement. Observe the tea ceremony and flower arranging. The subtlety of Japanese gardens and the other arts are infused with delicate, restrained emotion. Japan is defined by the collective values of its people, what is meaningful to them. To understand Japan requires understanding and sensitivity toward that which they value. In addition to the traditional arts of Japan, the Japanese have many national and natural treasures in which they take great pride. These treasures can be anything the Japanese esteem as being of great value. A great artisan, a great actor, a mountain, shrine, temple, an animal. These treasures are the symbols of Japan's aesthetic qualities. Part of Kokoro, the heart within, are those things which the people treasure and which give them feelings of pride. One of the grandest of Japanese treasures is the Toshogu Shrine at Nikko. Millions of visitors come to the shrine each year, both as tourists and as worshippers. The reason Toshogu is so popular is not just because of its exquisite architectural work and ornamentation, but also because of the deity enshrined there. The chief deity of Toshogu Shrine is Tokugawa Ieyasu, a brilliant general who succeeded in bringing peace and harmony to the warring clans of Japan. He became shogun, supreme ruler of Japan. Ieyasu selected 3 hollyhock leaves as the crest of the Tokugawa family. It could symbolize the 300 years of prosperity of the Tokugawa government. Ieyasu stated in his will that after death he was to be enshrined as a god to watch over the fortunes of the house of Tokugawa. His will also contained his philosophy of life. Life is like carrying a heavy burden. It is best not to rush ahead too hastily. He who accepts it as natural for life not to go exactly as he wants will not feel dissatisfied. Rather than doing too much, it is better to leave some things undone. When managing others, give full rein to their good points and overlook their weak points. Many of these sayings are still used and cherished today in corporate Japan. Construction of Toshogu began 1 year after Ieyasu's death. Thousands of craftsmen and laborers are said to have worked on it. It took 20 years to finish it. The construction costs amounted to more than $150 million. The shrine is a unique piece of religious architecture combining the styles of both Shinto shrine and Buddhist temple architecture. The Yome Mon, or Yome Gate, is one of the most impressive buildings at Toshogu Shrine. The gate was built by 130,000 craftsmen working on an unlimited budget. During the Edo period, ordinary people were not allowed to pass through this gate. Even the emperor's envoy had to change into formal dress before being allowed to enter. The richness of its color scheme, based on black, white, and gold, and the intricacy of its carvings make it an unrivaled feast for the eyes. There are over 400 wooden carvings on the gate. The Yome Gate, as well as all the buildings at Toshogu, are constructed of wood. Yome is also called Higurashimon, or Sunset Gate, because it was believed that one could literally gaze on it from morning until evening, so enraptured by the beauty that one would completely forget the passage of time. Around the gate are carvings representing the life of the Sennin, hermits or holy men of China. The Ryuma is the imaginary creature standing guard at the corners of the gate. It has the head of a dragon and the legs of a horse. The Shinyosha is the building which houses the 3 mikoshi, or portable shrines used in the Toshogu Grand Festivals. During the festivals, the portable shrines are carried by 75 men. They are dedicated to the fame and fortune of the house of Tokugawa. Akaramon is the gate leading to the main honden, or main hall of the shrine. Only those of sufficiently high rank to meet the shogun himself were allowed to pass through. In the eave of Karamon are the images of 26 holy men carved out of a single tree. On the east and west wings are dragons with clipped wings. They guard the gate during the day. Since they appear so lifelike, their wings and tails are clipped to prevent them from flying away. The Tsutsuga is a mythical Chinese beast said to be even stronger than dragons. The Chinese lions guard the gate at night. Their legs are fastened with metal rings to prevent their escape. Another expression of the inner feeling and harmony which the Japanese strive for is oneness with nature. Japan's natural treasures invoke some of the most delicate emotional responses from the Japanese. Rising out of the Kanto Plain in near-perfect symmetry, Fujisan. Like many of the other natural treasures held as sacred, Fuji is thought to possess an indwelling spirit. Many of the Japanese people refer to her as quietly watching over her land and people. Her slopes were off limits to women for many centuries. It was not until 1867 that an English woman is known to have been the first female to set foot on her summit. The cone of Fuji stands alone, sweeping up from the Pacific to over 12,300 feet. There is a legend associated with Fujisan. It is believed that one who witnesses the sunrise from the summit of Fuji will be revitalized and begin life anew. The mountain has become a symbol of Japan, loved by all the Japanese people. Japan's most northern island, Hokkaido, stands as a frontier, a land of hope to the Japanese. It is a place where one can escape the confines of the city and experience nature to the fullest. It is a land of rugged coastlines, mountain lakes reflecting deep northern blue sky, and miles of rich farmland. Hokkaido is filled with the delights of nature. Wildflowers in the summer, blanketed with snow in the winter. Hokkaido plays host to many species of animals and birds. One of the rarest of birds to inhabit the eastern marshes of Kushiro in Hokkaido is the Tansho crane, known for its red crest. In the autumn and winter, the red-headed cranes come down from the far north to winter in the marshes. Cranes are highly regarded and cherished in Japan for their delicate beauty. They've been thought of as messengers of the gods. Because of the saying that a crane can live 1,000 years, it has become the symbol of longevity and peace. The Japanese, upon seeing the crane soaring through the vast reaches of the sky, have imagined a celestial nymph dancing in the heavens. The Japanese seem an almost naive people. Outside the city centers, they appear to lead simple, uncluttered, uncomplicated lives. This has been called one of the higher virtues of Japan. They seem to rely on convention, rules, or mood, kuki, the atmosphere of the moment, in the organizing of their society and their everyday dealings. At the same time, they are often thought of as a highly progressive people, constantly seeking out better ways to do and make things. Yet the same Japanese can be utterly conservative, set in their ways. The Japanese have a reputation for being closed to foreigners and foreign enterprises, and yet at other times unabashedly admiring of foreigners and foreign culture. If the Japanese are so different from the rest of us, there has to be a reason. They seem to have two personalities, one emotional, the other pragmatic. The Japanese say it is because they are noko, an agriculturally based people, whereas much of the rest of the world's people are described as being nomadic, hunting peoples. As an essentially isolated nation for most of its history, Japan did not fight with or compete with foreign peoples or cultures. To a considerable degree, modern-day Japan has retained the group orientation which it has always had, with a clan or village at the center of society.
Family is the center of our focus. There are many housewives whose lives do not go beyond thinking about their family and their family alone. I truly understand the importance of the family. It is a characteristic of the Japanese that we think only of our families. This is not a bad thing. However, the Japanese feeling for the family is so strong that they often show a lack of association with others and outsiders.
The Japanese seem almost instinctively to organize themselves into groups. The Japanese have developed rules and conventions by which they live and interact with one another. There are norms which individuals are to adhere to. The concept of the Japanese relying on small group values can explain the Japanese people's ability to be both emotional and structured, thus answering some of the contradictions in Japanese society. In all small groups, people serve as the basis of identity rather than the culture, as in villages or tribes. Japan seems to have retained this same approach at the level of nation. Over a long history, Japan evolved from a village culture into a very high-level one by gradually and carefully combining with the best from other civilizations. It is this combination which makes Japan so unusual and successful. Japan is a group-oriented country. Perhaps the key to understanding the Japanese is not being Japanese, but realizing and accepting that they are unique. A country apart. The Japanese are thoroughly Japanese.